Hello, everybody, and welcome to this Champions for Earth vidcast, the first one that we've ever done. It's a new format that we're trying, and I'm really proud to have our first guest with us here today, Mattlawie, all the way from Ghana. So it's going to be really fun and interesting to hear a little bit about you, Matt, and what you're up to, and to kind of find out a bit more of what life is like out in Ghana, and also talk a little bit about Champions for Earth. So before we go any further, I may as well just ask you, to introduce yourself, a little bit about yourself, where you're from, where you're at, and what you're up to. That'd be really lovely to hear.
Hi, my name is Matthew, and I am here in the Volta region of Ghana, and I am an ecologist, a permaculturist, a slow-foodist, a humanitarian, a creative artist, and I'm also a soccer coach. I am here in the Volta region of Ghana, and I have been developing a regenerative eco-village in my country here in Ghana for the past 6 years now. After several years of learning, volunteering, and building on my abilities, I had a powerful realization that entirely changed my life. Let me take you back some years back.
Go on, that sounds good. Go on.
I was very depressed seeing the people getting sick and every day because of pollution, dirty water, and processed foods. I was very depressed seeing this. So we face a lot of challenges, many issues in our current society, not just in Ghana, from the use of toxic chemicals and poor waste management, lack of access to tools and alternate knowledge, community breakdown. We have segregations, and all this matter put into my own hands. So a few months later, I founded a few months later, I founded the Mattlawie Ecological Regenerative Center, which is a non-profit and officially registered here in Ghana in 2017, which is 2017. And then I also told myself that unless I start creating this change that I want to see, nothing will work. So I decided, like, unless we work together to create a better environment for all. So books have taught me that change starts with you and I. So I decided to stop waiting. Around for someone else to tackle these issues and put matters into my own hands. So like I said, a few months later, I founded Mattlawie, which officially was registered in 2017. I will never forget this day, how happy, how great, excited. I was very happy. I was very proud of it, that I was able to do something I have been living, like trying to do all the years. So, and our mission is to teach and empower people and maintain harmonious harmony with nature, in harmony with nature. So far, we've donated a lot of plants to seedlings to local schools, planted over 500 trees, and also we have about 70 children in our eco community soccer program. So I have been opportune to learn permaculture from very experienced and very, very well-renowned, skilled and generous teachers around the world, both online and on-site and online. And I've attended lots of seminars and workshops as well over the years. So without my friend who believed in me and my teachers as well, who inspired me, none of this would have been possible. So now I am now sharing this gift with my people.
Cool. I mean, it sounds, just your resume is incredible, and there's so many different things, and I'm really, really struck by, you're obviously very busy, but all of these different strands seem to be woven together. So when I went on your website, there's Mattlawie Ecological, Mattlawie Youth Soccer, Kicking for Green, and Mattlawie Missions. Is it possible to tell me a little bit about each of those things, and if there's any more there could be even that you want to say, because they sounds like you've got a lot going on?
Yeah. I asked for FC Mattlawie because one, for me to do this diverse, because my background is from permaculture, regenerative system. We always apply this to all what we do. We do things based on permaculture principle, ethics, and design systems. We don't just do things. We put things at the right place. We design, take our time to design. We also make things go in zone, and we always mimic nature, which is very important, and do biodiversity, doing bit of this, bit of that here and there. So also I thought it's wise to implement this into the system. As a designer, a good designer, according to our discipline, a good designer always put things that is multifunctional in his design system, so that he have bit of this, bit of that, and also we check the behavior. So now I thought it wise to do the same thing with the soccer team and with the project in general, by bringing in bit of soccer, bit of the missions, bit of this, bit of that. Now let's talk about the soccer. So FC Mattlawie Kicking for Green Youth Soccer Team is born out of the golden belly of the Mattlawie Ecological. And what we do is catch kids together. Like, we use soccer as a catalyst to get the kids to go green. Because normally when you leave the kids, they go in doing different things, more especially this area I come from. Many people go into violence. They go into what's it called, youth pregnancy. They go into a whole lot of bad things. But I use this soccer to remove them and also teach them to go green. So we are not just kicking, but we are kicking it to maintain green and to maintain a healthy lifestyle, and also accord the people with the talent, help them with the opportunities, and we support them by providing them with the kits, the gears, the right gears, and the right equipment, so that they can have a very good time. And also we engage them with teaching sessions and all that, so that they can also come to be great ambassadors, well-disciplined, and also become a great leader wherever they find themselves.
And so you've got these other sections. So Mattlawie missions and is Mattlawie Ecological the whole kind of umbrella organization?
The whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah, Mattlawie is the whole thing. Ecological is the whole thing. Okay. Then we have the branches, like the FC Mattlawie Kicking for Green. Then the Mattlawie missions, and the Mattlawie missions is out to join with the fellow missionaries and leaders, both from the church and from the schools, the teachers. We join force with them, and we go around to enact real change and promote peace through teaching, giving, and also making disciples. We disciple people to also showcase God's love and God's care to the entire humanity.
Cool. So is a religion quite an important part of society in Ghana?
Yeah, religion is the vital part. So we use soccer and also a bit of religion, morals and everything. So all these things must work together in order to get the real change that you desire to get.
And I got a question for you, because something I don't know about, and I don't know whether many of the Champions for Earth community will know about. What can you explain a little bit about what permaculture is? Because I think I know, but I'm not sure.
Talking about permaculture. Permaculture has to do with food production. Is more especially, it has to do with permaculture. And the word permaculture is derived from two words. When you split this permaculture, it has to do with permanent agriculture. But now we are going too well in the culture, because we want to take it on and on and on, which we are trying to make it a culture, not just an agriculture. So it's a permanent culture that to growing food, and also it goes around what's it called, the agricultural ecosystem in self-sufficient and sustainable manner, while producing your food and source of conducting your activities. And the whole thing we do is to mimic nature. Not like the horticulture people. Like when the horticulture, we are very it's opposite to the horticulture.
And it sounds really interesting, because I can see that it's a more holistic way of thinking, and you're thinking of the different social and community aspects with sports and religion and environmentalism,
They're trying to
sustainability,
bring
health, and
everything
social
together.
health. Yeah,
Everything.
cool, really good. So I think so when I set this interview up, I had to look up where Ghana was. I knew it was in Africa, and I had a suspicion it was in sub-Saharan Africa, but I had to check it out. So please forgive me for not paying attention enough in school. But you told me that you're coming from a region called Volta region in Ghana. And I was wondering if maybe you could tell me a little bit about what the Volta region is like, and also if you have seen what effects of the climate and nature emergency you've seen in this region, you know, in at first sight, at first hand.
Thank you. The Volta region is one of the capital from the 16 administrative regions in Ghana. Is one of the 16 administrative regions in Ghana, and having the capital as Ho, Ho, and it is located in the East Lake of the Volta, and it has it is divided into 25 administrative districts, and the Volta region of Ghana lies to the east of the Volta Lake. The region covers areas of 95,000 square kilometers, representing 3.9% of Ghana.
Wow, you've got a lot of facts and numbers in your head, Matt. I give you that. Well done. All those.
Thank you. Thank you.
And is it like mountains and stuff like that? I see it's right next to the border of Togo.
I'm going to talk about the climatical condition of it, the agricultural aspect, as well as the heritage, as well as the scenic flow of nature. So I just want to touch on bits of them. So the Volta region of Ghana, the Volta region spans all the vegetational zones of the country, stretching the Atlantic coast in the south to the middle belt of the country. So talking about its climatical condition, it varies. It varies from one place to the other around the Volta region. Then for the agriculture, just as other agrarian regions in Ghana, we do produce a lot of food here, and more especially rice is one unique thing that the Volta region has been known for, to produce a lot of rice.
Okay.
Yeah.
And go on, keep going. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, talking about
a lot of questions all at once, so maybe I'm just telling you too many questions.
Talking about the recreational aspect. So the West Africa, the west region is dominated by the River Volta. It is very, very unique because we also get the source of our power from this lake. The lake is very popular for this, and we get this major source of our power and water from the Volta Lake. And a lot of visitors also come around this to see from time to time too. Then we talk about the kente weaving, traditional clothing. It's very unique here. We make a lot of kente. It's the traditional clothing worn by the Ewe people, because the people that occupy here, most of them are the Ewe. They are called Ewe, and the language spoken here is the Ewe. Then also we talk about the festival. One unique thing about the Volta region is the festival. The festival is very renowned, very, very, very famous for its festival, and it's very loud ceremony. And this festival has to do with the people of Wuli hold a unique festival to give thanks because of the water, because here we have a whole lot of waterfalls. So they map out this day, and it comes every November. They map out this day to give thanks by celebrating and making a lot of merriment for this.
Cool.
So it's very unique, very peculiar to the Volta region.
And just before we started this call, you were telling me how it's the rainy season right now in Ghana. And normally it's June and July is the heaviest rains, but it's kind of become a little bit less predictable nowadays. And there are other ways that the climate change is affecting you, do you think, in there?
Yeah, it's not that I think. It is really taking its course on us, taking its toll. Climate change effect is seen everywhere here. From from the rising sea level threatening rapidly urbanizing coastal areas in here around here, increasing vulnerability to flooding, erosion, and waterborne diseases. Very, very common here. The drought, very common, and erratic weather pattern, declining of rainfalls, causing low food production and also inflation. So all these things are taking its course on us. Yeah. So we see the effects of climate change every day.
And are many people reliant on the weather, you know, to grow their food for themselves, but also to sell and to make a living from?
Yeah, a lot of people here, more especially from depending on the area in the Volta region, a lot of people here depend on the weather, like the rainfall, to grow their foods. So without the rain falling the right time, it's a very big problem for them.
And it sounds to me like that's when I looked on your website as well, you know, the permaculture ideas are really based to try to maximize, you know, the rain, the water that you have, and to not lose it, and to have the correct you know, things growing that are resilient in these times which are kind of destabilized. Is that a correct thing to say, do you think?
Yeah, it's very correct. And this is also one of the solutions that we are trying to bring, though little by little people have been trying to imbibe into this, though it cannot, you know, change doesn't come very fast, more especially depending on the people on the area. Because some people will also have our problems here. With some people here, they like sticking on only the one way of life, only the thing they learned, they just want to stick to it. So it takes time, it takes effort, it takes persuasiveness in order to get them off that road to the right side.
Yeah, and I guess this is the thing now, is that the you know, sounds like the climate is destabilizing, and the old ways of doing things, you know, changes coming for us all,
Very fast,
and we have to figure out how to adapt to it. And it sounds to me like, unfortunately, in your region and in your country, you know, where you're so closely relying on this, you know, on the weather to be the right way, that it leaves people quite vulnerable, and that, I guess, puts all sorts of stress in other parts of society as well.
yeah.
So thank you. You know, this is really interesting, because I guess it's, yeah, we're really honored to be speaking to someone from all the way from another part of the world, really, and to hear about this on the front line. I was going to ask you a little bit about the power of sport. So, you know, Champions for Earth, you know, we believe in the power of sport, and that it has this ability to reach and inspire and connect with people, a little bit like you've been talking about, you know, with the football. We also think that makes, you know, gives sport a challenge. You know, it has to take responsibility for its impact and the way that it conducts itself, and also the way that we have this power as athletes and as sports people to speak, and people want and like to hear and are happy to hear from athletes. What do you think? You know, how do you think sport can be powerful, and why do you think sport? What's your experience of the power of sport in dealing with this situation that we're in now, and that you're in right now?
Okay, let me bring it down to where I am right now. Where I am right now, if you want to get the people together, you throw a ball, you get the million people. When you throw down a ball, you get the youth very easily without stress. So when you want to get people, I will say sport has a very great power of possibility, the power to bring the change that we desire. Sport is so powerful, far beyond what we imagine, because sport has to do with it can correct a lot of issues that goes about developmental areas, issues that goes around the youth. Because when I'm talking about the youth, I'm talking about the from the grassroots. Because when you tackle a problem from the top, it will definitely spring up again. When you tackle a problem from the roots, then you eradicate it over time. So we go to the youth by catching them to go green, or to get them together with sports. Like here, we use football, soccer, to get the youth through this way, you can teach them, you can sensitize them, you can talk to them about the effects, you can tell them how to go green, you can use it in different ways in order to bring the people together. Because I see sport as something that unites. It brings people together, people of different languages, race, sex, different people, it brings them together. So sport is very powerful to bring people together in a way to unite, in a way to bring about peace, in a way to bring about development, in a way to move forward, and as we really need the change.
So that's a really nice thing to hear. And I've heard you talking about peace a couple of times as well. And I think, you know, some of the Olympic ideals and some of the ideas of sport, not just about winning, but about the way that we conduct ourselves, the thing that you learn as a sports person, that we can always, you know, we can always take a kind of low path when we are in a position of challenge and a position of stress and difficulty, but then also we see the true champions, they rise and they take the higher path and they rise to the challenge. And it sounds to me like you really believe in those values as well, and that you feel them and you see them in action in your community. Is that right, as far as you can tell?
Over time, I've been opportune to take courses of not just like we call something in one of our studies, we call it a competitive sport, how to use the sport, you know, in the right way. Because most of the times when I was very younger, we see sport as something competition. You have to win. It's a win or violence. If you don't win, maybe violence, something or the other will come up. But my understanding now over time, I've seen that sports, one, we have to play from the aspect, one, the owner, from the aspect of knowing very well. We have to know, why are we doing this sport, or why am I playing football? Am I just playing it for? That's what exactly I'm trying to do with the children. Not just playing the football, not just coming to kick or just make sport or make exercise, but we are kicking it with a purpose, knowing very well, with a sense of belonging, both to the environment, to our community, and also we see it as a game, and also we see it as, even when we are losing, though we do our best, even when we are losing, we take it like that, without having to make violence and all that. So this way, I think through this way, we are able to impact the children in a positive way.
Yeah. And do you say, you know, when you say children, what age group do you work with in your Kicking for Green programs?
Though when I say children, we have younger ones as well as the big ones. But why I say children, we always like catching them from very tender age.
Yeah, okay.
So I have people from like 7 to 20.
Okay, so it's a whole program all the way up, young people all the way up to quite, cool. So I'm interested to hear a little bit, Matt, if you wouldn't mind, what your own personal background in sport is. I guess you said you came from a kind of permaculture kind of background, but you sound like you're very passionate about sport and how you think, you know, sport has helped you yourself as an individual. That'd be really cool to hear about.
Thank you for this opportunity. My background in sports, first, I was born with it. I discovered while I was growing that it's something that I was very passionate about it. I saw it as more of like, will I say a calling? It was part of a calling for me. That's how I saw it when I was growing. So I started playing far back when I was like a 5, 6, at a very tender age. I started playing. I played for a lot of schools. I played for a lot of youth soccer academies. I was able to play in different divisional sides. Also like a little, but not up to that. But what happened was that I had a lot of challenges, ranging from the background, from a whole lot of issues. I wanted to point out before that here, a lot of talents are wasting. That's why we are doing what we are doing. A lot of talent. I see a lot of talent here, but they are wasting because no help, no right way to position them well. So it also affected me during my growing stage in the game, my background in football. It affected me. I wasn't able to reach at the point I was supposed to reach in the game. So I decided that I have to impart people to take it on. That was why I came about developing a program called FC Mattlawie Soccer Academy, Kicking for Green. So since then, I've been doing this. And apart from that, I've been opportunity to take a lot of course on coaching. I've taken a lot of, I'm also affiliated to a certain organization that always use sport as the power to win people for God, like in the missionary way.
Yeah.
So I've been doing this using to disciple people.
Yeah. And are you a soccer guy all the way through? Is soccer big in Ghana, or are there other sports that you're interested in or that are popular in Ghana? Is it all about football?
No, there are other sports like handball. We also do handball a little, but the sport that is most popular in the area where you are, it depends on the area where you are. The area where we are, soccer is more popular here in Volta region.
No, thank you very much. And it's really interesting because, you look like a fit and healthy guy. You must be out and about doing stuff, using your energy up. And I think it's interesting, what sports teaches us. We're always at Champions for Earth. We're trying to help athletes to use their powers that they've developed as athletes, to turn them into powers for the good of the planet. And also, we're saying the good of the planet, good for society, good for communities. It's all the same thing in the end. And it sounds to me like, you've gone on that quite a journey, I expect, from reading between the lines. And it sounds pretty epic that you're here now doing this project. So yeah, well done for that. And it's a nice story, but it's a shame that you didn't make it as far as you wanted in football. That is also a tough part of the thing. So I was going to ask you next, one of the things that I noticed, and this was one of the things I really liked when I visited your website, it seems to draw so many things together. And I also see even the background of your Zoom screen here has got some nice wall decorations or whatever. You talk about art and how that is a part of your projects. And I think it's interesting because when I started to become interested in the environment, I was just like, we've got to stop burning fossil fuels and, stop making plastic waste. But actually, there's so many other elements are together, and you're bringing a lot of these things. And I thought it'd be really cool to hear what you think, what role art has to play in what you're doing, and also, more broadly in the kind of whole project of looking after ourselves and saving what we can of ourselves.
Good. Yeah, thank you. Art is normally, I do tell people that nature is art. Nature is the art of God. And when you talk about nature, to me, I see nature as from God, from the Creator. And I always tell people when I meet people that the wisdom you need in life, the wisdom you need to do things is from nature. And nature is an artist. It paints, then we watch, we mimic. So I do more of mimicking because I see all the projects as an artwork already.
Okay, cool.
And this artwork, I try to mimic because nature first is the art, then I mimic and put it into details. So I design from pattern into details.
So you're saying, from your point of view, art is like the kind of observation and translating what you're seeing into another medium, another way of doing things.
Another way. And in a way, sometimes to sensitize the people, to get people to understand, like translate it in a way of that people will be able to understand what you are talking about.
Okay, so that's really cool. So yeah, trying to find a way that it can speak to people and convey messages and stuff.
Exactly.
That's really interesting. I like that. It's really cool because I think, not everyone thinks, but sport and culture and arts and all these things, they're kind of together.
Yeah, they're interwoven.
So, and then another element that I've already touched on here, and you're talking about peace a bit, and I wanted to come back to that because one of the things that scares me about the climate and ecological emergency is the way that it will, I believe, unfortunately, create conflict in the world, that it already is creating conflict in the world underneath some of the problems that we're seeing around the world. We know that there's resources issues. People are battling over resources like water and like land and fertile places to support themselves. But on the other side of things, we also see conflicts coming from extractionism, trying to get like oil. So many of the horrendous wars that have happened recently have basically been around about oil and the fossil fuels, which have been, which are now very clearly destroying us, destroying the fabric of our planet and our communities and lives. So I thought it's obviously, I'm hearing about this religious aspect for you as well, which I guess is another really interesting thing to be brought into this space in sports. But I think it'd be nice to hear you perhaps talk a little bit about how you see this need or this quest for peace, this work towards peace, how that is part of what you're doing. Because I think, to me, this side of peace and violence that we need to be really careful about, and we need to learn more about, because it's something that I think we need to, basically, because of the direction that we're going. I don't know if you've got any thoughts on this.
Yeah, peace is very important. That's why in the vision of my project is to make everything to work together with the plants and everything, live in harmony and peace in the environment where we are. Because without peace, there is nothing you can achieve. So peace, we've been working like advocating for peace through I'm a member of the ICP, International City of Peace. I'm one of the members. So we advocate for peace. We go with religious leaders or leaders like teachers. We always have like peace talks, and also getting the young ones to like talking to them about the need for peace, and also doing things that also will stop the peace, like in our little ways, because we believe that when we do and we teach, you also take it on, and the other person to the other bed, then we definitely one day will get to the point. So also for the natural disaster and things that are happening, sometimes we create those problems for ourselves. The problem we create, that's what is also coming back to us. So if we can stop all these things from all this from this point, I think, and also we sensitize the people and continue to talk to people and continue to bring works about peace, I think at some point we will definitely be able to curtail things and there will really be peace. But peace starts with you.
Yeah, I think that's really good. I'm interested very much in the non-violent theory, which is part of the thing that underpins the activism that I participate in, and I think this is a whole area. And I think what's interesting, you're talking a little bit about kind of resilience, isn't it? Community and individual resilience as to, well, I think it's important to come from an understanding of peace, peace inside, peace outside. There is kind of one piece, that's really, really interesting. And I'm just grateful to be hearing, talking with you now and understanding and hearing how these different things are kind of meshed together in your projects.
Thank you.
So I wanted to ask you a simple question, but it might be quite hard. What's an average day for Matt? What do you do on an average day? When do you get up? What do you have for breakfast? And what do you do during the day? And what time do you go to bed? What sort of things do you do? I know, I'm sure there's no such thing as an average day, but just a flavor, one of your days, what do you do?
Normally here, we don't have any time to wake up or any time to sleep. Sometimes if there's a need to do something, I wake up sometimes around 3 a.m. Sometimes I have to wake up around 1 a.m.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes I have to wake up around just randomly. We don't have a specific time for waking up, depending on the need of the things. If I have to attend to the farm, if we have a match to play, or we have a soccer program, if we have some tree planting projects, like some drive for tree planting. So you have to, like, depending on the day, what we have for each day. So that determines how sometimes I get up.
Yeah, that's interesting. And do you each day, do you have a plan at the start of the week? You've got all sorts of, I'm guessing, your permaculture garden and these different projects. It must take a lot of work to kind of lock them all together in a plan?
So yeah, normally we do have plans. Maybe this day with, like, for instance, today we'll be attending to the farm maybe till 3, then from 3 to the soccer, from soccer to maybe we have a program of visiting or going to talk to someone, or going to do like meet with some religious leaders, like to have some talks or to do some teaching. And sometimes the day gets very, very busy and occupied. Why some days it's a little bit better than other days. So it depends on all what we have. Like generally we do have a plan for each day, but sometimes we attend to things that is more important and needed. Based on that, we make our plans.
So this is interesting, because I've just got a question that's come to my mind. So one of the things that I'm interested in is we call it kind of a regenerative culture, a culture that can sustain and is healthy, you know. And I think I only can talk a little bit for my life, and what I see in society in the UK is that a lot of our society is quite unhealthy. You know, it pushes people too hard, physically and emotionally and mentally. We have people who are unwell physically, there's a lot of this in society, but also have lots of mental illness, lots of people who are really unhappy in the world, where life is out of balance, and there's that kind of, the pressure is relentless. Right now in the UK, we have like a cost of living crisis. There's bad news today on economy. People are under a lot of pressure, and I think one of the visions that I have, you know, in the future, when we have managed to stabilize our planet's situation, is that we could live in a more balanced and peaceful and calm way. Of course, people would still work hard sometimes, but we'd have times when we can rest and recover, and everything would be more in balance. And it sounds to me like you're trying to do that in your life and in your projects. Is that right?
Yeah, that is what we are trying to do. That's why also I've been like talking to people and trying to also still talk to people to help. I want to get more of an eco village where people can work at their time, not like being pushed, because most people, when I meet people, I have been able to meet people from different walks of life, coming to me to volunteer and coming to me to learn or help and learn. Sometimes you see people saying that where I come from, we don't, you have the time, we have we have you have the time, we have the clock. They tell you things like this, that they don't have time to rest, time to this. So what we are trying to create is a culture. That's why if you watch on my website, you see something like permaculture and regenerative concept. Permaculture is like the polyculture, the ability to sustain, but not regenerative, a regenerative way. The culture to regenerate, that is what we are trying to create by bringing out an eco village. So I'm trying to create a very bigger eco village where we can house a whole lot of things, a place to do seminar, like to teach people, a place where people can come and like after working, at the end they get something. So we are trying to do all these things and bring the whole thing together, so that it's not going to be like a forced way, a forced culture, but a regenerative way.
Cool. So yeah, we've been talking a lot now, and I think we've had a good kind of glimpse of the different aspects of your project and the different aspects of your philosophy, and I'm really grateful to hear that. And I thought, you know, we should start to wrap up now, but before we finish, is there anything that you would particularly like to share with the Champions for Earth community and anyone else who's watching this video?
I would like to ask that I would like to ask for support, because a whole lot is needed to make all these projects really keep afloat. I would like to ask if there are ways that I can be supported to get more lands, more equipment, more tools, and more things, both for the soccer teams and for the eco farm project, for the eco village. So I will be very grateful to have this help, and for people to also come around to also volunteer and help with the project. I'll be very grateful, because we can all exchange.
Cool. And I think that's, you know, Champions for Earth, we're finding our way in this world as well, and working out and we can certainly share your the details of your projects and stuff, and we'll make sure that people, if they want to get involved, can contact you. But I think, Matt, it would be nice to just for me to say one last time, thank you so much for sparing me some of your time and sparing our Champions for Earth community some time here, because it has been, quite obviously connected to sports, but a whole lot more, and a whole kind of area that really has opened my eyes, and really, it's really cool and exciting. So thank you ever so much for being here and taking the time. And I just want to wish you all the best with your projects. They sound really good, and maybe in this little pocket of Ghana it can expand, and more people can learn about all these amazing, useful things and benefit from them. So thank you, Matt. Thank you.
Thank you. I also want to thank you for giving me this opportunity for people to hear me talk to them, and for people to hear me. Champions for Earth, you are doing a magnificent job. Your job is well good. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Matt. We'll keep doing our best too, and it's really cool. So once again, thank you, and I hope everyone watching this video has enjoyed it too. See ya.